The dinner that changed everything. It was just another reunion dinner, or so I thought. My husband and I had opened our home to a group of old college friends he hadn't seen in years. Among them was my stepbrother, who introduced us years ago, and some other men I'd come to know by name, not by face. The wine was flowing, the laughter familiar, and I was honestly enjoying myself. I had always thought they respected me not only as the younger sister in the group, but as a person. I had been wrong. Then one of them, Greg I think, raised his glass and said something that made the air shift. "Man, you were lucky it actually worked out with her." The table laughed, but it wasn't the kind of laugh that comes from joy. It was nervous. Tight. I looked at my husband. He wasn't smiling. My stepbrother looked down at his plate. And something in my chest clenched. "What do you mean by that?" I asked. Greg looked like he had made a mistake. My husband muttered, "Drop it." But I was already leaning in. And Greg dropped the bomb. Apparently, when my stepbrother introduced me to their group, I was labeled arrogant. A know-it-all. Someone who needed to be taught a lesson. So the group, men I had cooked for that night, welcomed into my home, made a bet. A game. Whoever could sleep with me first, won. And my husband? He won. 6 years ago. And never said a word. I laughed. That awful, broken kind of laugh that covers the sound of your heart cracking in half. Then I stood and walked away from the table. He followed me. He cried. He swore it wasn't like that he had changed, that he fell for me genuinely once he got to know me. But as I stared at him, all I could see was the boy who thought I was a game. And I didn't know if I could ever look at the man in front of me the same way again. And then, just days later, I heard the heartbeat of our child, with that same man. A baby, a betrayal, and a question I couldn't answer. The next morning felt like waking up in a stranger's bed. The sheets were mine, the walls were familiar, but nothing felt safe anymore. My husband made coffee like he always did. He kissed my forehead like he always did. And I flinched. Because now I knew. I knew that when he first looked at me, it wasn't out of love. It was out of ego. Out of some twisted game with my stepbrother and their friends. And even though he said he changed, I couldn't shake the feeling that our entire foundation was built on a lie. And yet, that very morning we went to my doctor's appointment. I'm pregnant. 7 months along. He held my hand in the waiting room. When the ultrasound began and the sound of our daughter's heartbeat filled the room, he broke down crying. I wanted to feel something. Joy, anger, relief. But all I felt was numb. Because I didn't know if what I was seeing was real, or if it was just another performance. That night I told him I needed space. He nodded. No argument. No begging. Just quiet. And then he asked me the question I'd been avoiding since the dinner. "Do you think you'll ever trust me again?" I didn't answer. Because I didn't know. And just when I thought I was starting to gather my strength again, I had to face a new war, the one with his family. Overbearing. Controlling. And now furious with me. Because I had just told him. I didn't want them at his birthday. I needed peace. Not noise. Not judgment. Not more pressure while I was carrying a child. And if I had to force it, so be it. But peace came at a price I wasn't ready for. The price of peace. We celebrated his birthday alone, just the two of us. No noise. No chaos. No voices shouting over each other telling me what to eat, how to sit, how to be a mother. I lit the candles on the cake myself, placed it on the table, and watched the flame flicker in the silence. He smiled, trying to make the best of it. But I saw the sadness in his eyes. His phone buzzed all night. Missed calls. Angry texts. His family knew it was me. And for once I didn't back down. I told him, I need this. I need to breathe. And for the first time in 6 years he chose me over them. I thought maybe this was the beginning of healing. We were already in therapy, individual and together. And slowly things began to shift. He stopped trying to defend what happened in the past and instead started focusing on the man he is now. The man he wants to be. The father he's trying to become. But just as the wounds were beginning to scab over, another voice from the past cracked them open again. My stepbrother called. I hadn't spoken to him in almost a year, not since the night I found out about the bet. He had never apologized. In fact, the last time we talked he laughed about it, said I should thank him. That because of him I found my soulmate. That night we had a screaming match that shattered whatever was left between us. So when he called again I let it ring. And ring. And ring. And then, a voicemail. I miss you. I know I was disgusting. I know I lost you. But I don't want to lose my little sister forever. I didn't cry right away. But later that night, when I held our baby girl against my chest and felt her tiny breath on my skin, I broke down. Because the one man who helped destroy me, was the same man who used to protect me. And now he wanted back in. Blood doesn't make you family, but forgiveness might. I replayed the voicemail more times than I'd like to admit. Each time I caught something new. A tremble in his voice. A crack when he said, "Little sister." A pause like he was holding back tears. And it destroyed me. Because I missed him. God, I missed him. The way he used to tease me. How he always checked the locks when our parents weren't home. The way he stood up to a guy who dumped me in high school, even though we'd barely started getting along back then. Before the bet, before the betrayal, before I became a game. But the memory of his laughter the night he said I should thank him, that poisoned everything. That was the last time I heard his voice in person. And now he was asking for a second chance. I talked to everyone. My friends, my husband, even my therapist. Every single one said the same thing, only you can decide. But how do you decide between protecting your peace and healing a bond you thought was already dead? My husband sat beside me one night as I scrolled through my phone, listening to the voicemail again. He didn't say a word. Just slipped his fingers into mine and let me cry. He's changed, I believe that now. He's become a better man. Not perfect but honest. And I've seen him fight for our family in ways I never imagined 6 years ago. Could my stepbrother do the same? Could I trust him enough to even try? I looked down at my baby girl, sleeping peacefully between us. Then placed my hand over my belly. Another heartbeat. Another little soul growing inside me. Did they deserve to grow up without knowing the man who once called me sister? And could I ever teach them about forgiveness, if I wasn't willing to try it myself? The bridge we're still building. I called him. Not right away, not even that week. But eventually, I did. His voice cracked the moment he answered. "You called?" was all he managed. And for the first time in over a year, I let my walls down just enough to say, "Yes, I did." We didn't dive into apologies. Not yet. We started with memories, of summers at the lake, late-night drives, shared playlists, stupid jokes. Then came the silence. Heavy. Fragile. And finally he whispered, "I was disgusting. I know that. I don't deserve a second chance. But I want to earn it. If you'll let me." I didn't say yes. I didn't say no either. But I asked if he wanted to meet his niece. He broke down. The next weekend he stood at my front door, flowers in one hand and a tiny stuffed elephant in the other. He didn't try to hug me. Didn't ask for anything. Just looked into my eyes and said, "Thank you. We're not fixed. We're not back to normal. There's no such thing after betrayal. But we're talking again. Slowly. Carefully. Rebuilding." As for my husband, he holds our daughter like she's made of glass and never lets a day go by without showing me he's here. Not just physically but fully, emotionally, honestly. And I've realized something. Love doesn't erase the past. It doesn't make the pain disappear. But when it's real, when it's chosen daily, it builds new things, stronger things. Things like trust, like family, like forgiveness. So no, my story didn't have a perfect beginning. But maybe, just maybe, we're writing a better ending.